Hello all, and thank you so much for joining us today. I'm Alex Oleson, a member of the DeBruce Foundation Career Corps, and it is such a privilege for you all to be here today. Welcome to the DeBruce Foundation's release of its brand new, first of its kind research report on how to advance employment empowerment. I should note that this couldn't come at a more perfect time because November is National Career Development Month. And before we get started, I just want to say on behalf of myself and all the panelists today, we are so glad you are here. First, a bit of housekeeping. If at the bottom of your guys' all screens, you guys should be able to see a chat feature and a Q&A feature as part of this event. Please use that chat feature to react to the messages or anything we're sharing today, as well as for technical issues, please just drop a note in the chat. At the end of the discussion today, we will have some time to address questions from the audience. And so we just ask that you use that Q&A function located at the bottom of your screen to ask any questions to our panelists. Now, let's test that chat feature. Please share your name, organization, and where you're joining us from in the chat. All right, keep them coming in, guys. Now, today, I am pleased to introduce you to our esteemed speakers for this event. First, we have Dr. Leigh Taylor-Knight, the Executive Director and COO of the DeBruce Foundation. We have Davlon Miller, the Director of Career Services at the University of Missouri in Kansas City. We have Dan Denniston. He is an academic career counselor with the Indiana Department of Workforce Development. And we have Justine Patterson, and she is a cohort member at Rung for Women in St. Louis. Now, we'll start with Leigh to announce the findings of the report.
Thank you, Alex. Panelists and audience, thanks for being with us today. What if you could build a career with higher salaries, better benefits, and less risk of unemployment? And what if you knew two factors were the secret? The study conveys two factors anyone can increase: career literacy and network strength. And it reveals how organizations can help people be more empowered on their career journeys. As a national foundation committed to expanding pathways to economic growth and opportunity, the DeBruce Foundation is similar to many of you joining us today. We are one of many organizations across the country that are working to build sustainable, equitable, and prosperous communities. That includes a focus on how to close talent gaps in our workforce. Individuals in our economy, well, they are the talent. Moving them from uninformed to informed career decision makers honors them as people first. And knowing what separates those who are employment empowered from those who are challenged to make career transitions matters. That is why we started asking this question: how should we prepare to navigate inevitable career transitions across a lifetime? Our nationally representative study found employment empowerment is strongly correlated with career literacy and network strength. The DeBruce Foundation is sharing findings today. We invite you to partner. We all want to help people effectively prepare for their career transitions, youth launching careers, and adults making changes. In the fall of 2020, the DeBruce Foundation initiated a national survey to assess patterns of employment, income, and work conditions. The analysis presented in this report draws on 4,000 responses from the fall of 2021. Survey respondents are nationally representative across many factors such as income, age, race, and gender. The study isolated and examined the relationship of three ideals. We are going to continue to track these three: employment empowerment, career literacy, and network strength in the coming years semi-annually. But today, let's start with looking at how they're being defined. We'll start with career literacy. Career literacy includes a vision for your career, self-awareness of your skills and interests, the capacity to communicate your professional value, and having robust job search skills combined with the capability to explore multiple career pathways. These are what help you navigate a constantly changing employment landscape. When you have high career literacy, you are better able to adapt and position yourself for success. The second area examined in this report is network strength. You have multiple connections with people, spanning a diversity of industries, education levels, and social experiences. Network strength, it's a function of both that diversity and the supportiveness of your professional and personal networks. Strong networks, well, they help you see alternative careers, connect to job opportunities, and to understand the broader economic landscape. People with employment empowerment have that higher income with those better benefits of which I asked the question in the beginning. Plus, they have more influence over their work conditions. Also, when you're in this category, you can accumulate more savings. You display more of a willingness to explore a greater variety of job opportunities, and also you experience a lower unemployment risk. Given these advantages, employment empowerment plays a key role in unlocking economic opportunity. Survey respondents have been categorized into 4 quadrants based on their career literacy and network strength. Looking at the chart, the lower left quadrant, it represents people who have both low network strength and low career literacy, or what we're calling employment challenged. The upper left quadrant shows those who are connected, high network strength, but low career literacy. Informed, have high career literacy, but lack network strength. We hit the jackpot with the empowered participants. They have both higher career literacy and higher network strength. Of course, empowerment is where you want to be. That's actually where we need to be to navigate the future of work. Empowered people, in comparison to challenged, earn 55% more in annual salary, and 26% more of them are currently employed. They also consider 17% more jobs outside of their current career path. In addition, empowered participants report having better benefits, more control over their work conditions, and they accumulate more savings for emergency and long-term needs. The largest share of people in the American economy, 41%, had both low network and low career literacy. This employment challenged group, remember, low in both key characteristics needed to accelerate their employment empowerment. 16% of people were informed but not connected, and 9% were connected but not informed. That leaves only 34% of the American population with employment empowerment, being high in both career literacy and network strength. Looking at this, we can all see the problem here. Nearly 7 out of 10 Americans are short in what they need, with the largest group, 4 of 10, being low in both career literacy and network strength. And who do you think is more likely to be low in both career literacy and network strength? Go ahead, throw it in the chat. I know you guys know what the answer is. It is not going to surprise you to hear that they are more likely to be women, people of color, and those with less education. That means Americans, 66%, many Americans, and particularly those marginalized in the economy otherwise, are at considerable risk of unemployment, lower wages, fewer benefits, less control over their work conditions, and fewer savings for emergency and long-term needs. The good news from this study is that we can raise career literacy and network strength. This is not about picking or being matched to one perfect career. No, this is about developing the skills that set you up to explore a variety of job opportunities and being prepared to make informed career decisions across your lifetime. We can't afford to wait for the systems to change before we act on our future. You're going to hear that from Justine today. In fact, organizations, they're helping people do this. Your organization can help the people in your community. Today, we are going to be inspired by some of those with these lived experiences. Thanks to Alex, we've already been introduced to our esteemed guests. So let's start by kicking it over to Davlon Miller at the University of Missouri in Kansas City to share more about how they are building career literacy and network strength in students. Davlon?
Thanks, Leanne. It's definitely been a road for us at UMKC. We have several different programs and really starting to look at what career literacy as well as network support means to us. We've been in the process of revamping our career services elements, as well as developing a specialized program specifically to work with students in this demographic to make sure that they're successful with their particular careers. The program is called the Professional Career Escalators Program, and it's really to target some of those key issues that we notice from our students. So we've all heard that students are always interested in the return on investment, as well as do students actually have the support that they need to get to the career that they're looking for? Also, I'm sure a lot of us have heard the now what syndrome of students getting through their particular degree and then saying, now what? And then also having, not necessarily having the professional experience that they need in order to be the best candidate for employers after graduation. So this program that we've put together, the just for short, the PCE program, allows us to really look at what are some key elements that will help develop students in this particular area. We've actually come up with 5 different core experiences that can kind of help them move in a direction that would be, in a sense, more career literate in their particular spaces, and what that may be over the course of the time that they're here at the university. So of those 5, we have career guidance and development, which we'd expect, experiential learning, so that's all those that exposure to the particular careers that they may be interested in. Also mentoring, not only from faculty members who know the academic elements, but also career professionals, as well as graduate and professional school preparation. So sometimes students don't know exactly what they need to do to get to the career. And sometimes it includes professional education as it relates to professional schools or continuing graduate work. And then last but not least, the leadership development, those elements of how to take charge of their particular career, as well as take charge in a particular area, especially if they understand that the career that they're looking into. With that being said, what we noticed also in the process is that students typically know what maybe they're getting from their particular majors, but a lot of times those particular majors aren't necessarily perpetuating or helping support the career aspect of what they're looking into. So they're getting the core requirements, they're taking tests and quizzes, and they're understanding a particular subject matter, but they're not necessarily getting the support of how to navigate the career. What types of jobs are out there? How do I reach out to particular people to help me kind of pull in the skills that I particularly need and also guide me in situations where it may be difficult to get there? And what's interestingly enough is we haven't necessarily in the past as institutions always supported that particular thought process, because we always think about just students are here to learn. But if you ask any students across the board, why are they here at the university, is to get a job and a well-paying job. And we're re-looking at how we actually support students in that pathway. I know we traditionally and we will always be focused on their majors, but also what career elements can we incorporate into what is actually happening to them so they can be best prepared. In that process, through the program that I was mentioning before with the Professional Career Escalator program, and really we're doing this across the campus, but it's easier to work with a smaller cohort sometimes originally. But in that process, we're exposing them to a lot of different things, not only just waiting, and we're not waiting to the end of the year, the 4-year experience or 5-year experience or whatever that may be for them. We're starting this from their first freshman experience, first year experience, where they're starting to understand exactly what they're looking into. So we're getting them in front of other professionals that may have interesting careers to them. We're working with them on resumes and interviewing and what that looks like. Also helping them reach out to mentors, not only for faculty and making sure they're connected with faculty that may understand their pathways, but also professionals in the industry that may have a career that they didn't necessarily understand or know that it was even there. So it also basically takes the veil off exactly where the career path that they're looking into. So we're very excited about how we help them build those career pathways, or putting those bricks in, if you will, to make sure that they can have those stepping stones to their particular future. One good thing is that in the process of some of the elements that we worked those core experiences with the Professional Career Escalators program is that we actually allow the students to work or take the Agile Work Profiler that is, once again, is part of the DeBruce Foundation's offerings. And that allows students to not only understand kind of what careers are out there, but also what skills that they may have, and not limiting. Sometimes you have assessments that limit, you only can work in these particular areas, or you have these skills for this particular career. But the Agile Work Profiler allows you to really explore your skills overall and how they could be presented within any career. So it makes the sky the limit, if you will, and allows them to build the things that they need to do. So when we're looking at the Professional Career Escalator program, or whether that's just career exploration on campus and what we're developing, we really want to make sure that we're helping students gain that social capital and make sure that they understand exactly what around them or who around them can help them achieve those particular goals. We also want to make sure that we have equitable access, not only in demographics, but also equitable across the majors. So a lot of majors are specifically designed towards career, i.e. engineering, nursing, things of that nature. But you have a lot of majors who aren't necessarily aligned to a career. And that's what we're trying to close the gap of getting those students those experiences that a nursing student may have with preceptorships and things of that nature. We want to make sure that we're building those same building blocks for students as they pursue any type of career, what have you you're thinking of. But also we're make sure that we're bringing in employers on campus to make those connections, establishing alumni connections as well, to bring that social capital, like I was saying before, to really understand where they are, what they need, pitfalls. I think that's a really big one. A lot of times we don't know where the pitfalls are, and it's great to reach out to people to help you figure those things out. And also just really rounding out that education, not just the classroom pieces, but really how do I pursue my career and how can I be the best candidate for that? And that really will really speak to what Leanne was mentioning before, not only understanding the career and how I navigate where I want to go and what that looks like, and that could change over time, which we all know that a person will change their career about 4 times in their lifetime. I've definitely done more than 4, but we're not going to talk about that. But also build that networking support so students can really understand how to make the foundation to springboard them to the next phase.
Davlon, you may be more like the norm going into the future than you know. And I appreciate that you all are doubling down on, as you said, building their social capital, getting them networked, and helping them see a multitude of careers to which they have not actually maybe been exposed before. Let's go hear from Dan now a little bit about what's happening in Indiana, Dan, and how you all are building career literacy and network strength with individuals.
Thank you, Leanne, for inviting me to the conference. Just like most states, during the COVID pandemic in 2020, the Indiana unemployment went up like 18 to 20% that year. A lot of those people that were unemployed and became unemployed are still seeking employment. And a lot of them cannot or will not go back to the jobs that they were previously doing. The one thing that I find is a lot of them have been doing that job for the last 8 or 10 years, and they don't have the career literacy skills or that educational background of how to actually do a career search or to do that. And that's one of the things that I see. That's one of the strongest tools that I think they could have is a really strong career literacy. Here in the Work One office that I work in here, the clients and the job seekers that come in here, that's the one tool that I see that they're needing assistance and help in. Here in Indiana, we've developed an Indiana Career Explorer website for them to use, and it consists of 3 different parts. The first is an interest assessment, which helps them identify their interest and skills in occupations that they really didn't realize that they could adapt or to transition into. The second part of that is the Agile Work Profiler, which the state of Indiana has partnered with the DeBruce Foundation in providing that assessment to us. And that helps them find their interest and their skills combined together, which gives them 10 agilities that they have. And the one thing that we find with that is that piece really helps them update their resume and highlight skills and things that they didn't realize that they really had so that they could really sell themselves to a new employer. The third piece of that is a work values matcher that kind of assesses them, and what it does is it gives them a focal point so that they can look at a career pathway like this is the important value at this point in my life at whatever stage. The Indiana Career Explorer goes clear from kindergarten through 12th grade, and then it's also for that mid-range of young adults that are in college age, clear up to seniors. It also emphasizes for military and veterans and job seekers. So it covers that full spectrum. We see that career exploration needs to start clear down in the youth. And the DeBruce Foundation is partnering and helping us build those assessments for the K through 5th grade that a lot of times have been left out of looking at what they want to do. There's more than just a doctor and a lawyer and a policeman and a nurse, as far as a career. Now they're looking, what is a robotics technician and stuff. So they're looking at those things. Along with that, the second piece that I see in there that they're really needing is the networking, because a lot of them know how to socially network with Facebook and Twitter and all of those things, and they can do that, but they can't career network. They don't know how to professionally or business network themselves to really sell themselves and market it to a new employer. So that's one of the things that we see, the second piece. So in the Indiana Career Explorer, that's one thing that we try and do is help them with their career literacy, to help them educate themselves of how they can sell themselves, and then help them network themselves, which is a really strong piece. Through both of those two things, it helps them get a higher level of employment and that type of thing, so that what they can do is better sell themselves and they'll have a greater success in their job satisfaction.
Thank you, Dan. And thank you, Davlon. I mean, both of you spoke into a couple of things. It's never too early to start. I love, Davlon, that you all aren't waiting until they're juniors or seniors. You're getting them engaged when they're, just starting on campus, and maybe even before with that. And Dan, you mentioned all the way down into the elementary schools and thinking about that. So I think that's right. It's never too early. Also, both of you are parts of large organizations that are doing this. Do you have any lessons learned from your experiences that you'd like to share with the audience today before we hear from Justine? Davlon and then Dan?
Sure. I will definitely say that a lot of times people think that it has to be a particular person that knows everything that really should be in charge of the process. And it's really not that. I think over the time that I've been exposed or been in the career services area is that there's a bunch of different pathways. And really the most important thing is really getting exposed, figuring out exactly what you need. Ask questions. I think that's one of the biggest things that I say. Just like Dan was talking about elementary age kids is that they're always asking questions. They learn so much in that process. And as we get older, we stop asking questions. I don't know why, but it's a great way to continue to explore not only the career that you're maybe thinking of, but figuring out what's on the plate, what's off the plate, what path you may take, and asking questions to others help you create that pathway. So that's a great entry point. It doesn't have to be perfect or like this spelled out way of doing it. Just literally asking questions and moving and being intentional about the information that you're looking for.
It's great advice.
The one thing that I see, Leanne, is a lot of times people are in a career that they're unhappy with. And sometimes it's finding their sweet spot. They're not aware of something because they've started at a young age, maybe in a career, and they've continued in it and worked their way up into a high paying job. So they're looking at the dollar value. We find today that with career literacy and helping them explore what it is, it's helping them to find their sweet spot. They'll end up getting into a career then and advancing themselves up to where they can support themselves and make a good living for them and their family and get the income that they want.
Thank you. Justine, that might just be the perfect entrance for you to come on stage and share a little bit about your experiences.
Yeah, it really is. And I'm really glad to be here. And I loved hearing from Dan and Davlon about their programs because this work is really close to my heart, both professionally and personally. I first launched my career in higher education in 2014 with the intention of being an academic advisor. And today I'm here to talk to you about my career journey since then and what helped me to pursue my current job and create a life that I couldn't have dreamed of previously without the assistance of a program like Rung. So about after 8 years in higher education, it was pretty apparent that it was time for a change. And like many people, 2020 revealed to me a lot of things. I learned a lot about what I wanted to pursue in the next phase of my career. During this time, I found how helpful it was to me to work remotely, how much I loved to work in innovative ways with my team. And I also needed to build more financial stability for myself in the coming seasons of my life. So by 2021, I knew I wouldn't be able to go back to the way things were. And I know that feeling resonates deeply with a lot of my peers. I had also been toying with the idea of getting a PhD for years. And of course, my network at the time being in higher education would have made that a very smooth transition. However, I was considering making a change to a completely different sector, technology, but I wasn't really sure how to make that happen. So I was there with a master's degree, 8 years of higher education experience in a pretty serious case of burnout. And I really needed direction and I really needed support. I found Rung in 2021. And they're a nonprofit that helps women who are focused on elevating their lives. They gave me everything I needed to level up professionally and surprisingly also personally. As soon as I joined, I had coaches that were helping me set and achieve goals. They were giving me assessments, kind of like what the previous speakers mentioned, to help me get a deeper understanding of my strengths, weaknesses, values, professional interests, all of that, and how to leverage that in the workspace. And I was building my career literacy, just like the fellow panelists have been talking about. And the best part of this entire experience is I was going through this process with women from all walks of life, all professional backgrounds, and we shared one common goal was that we wanted to make a big change and we needed resources. And I was surrounded by a strong, diverse network with sharing a common goal. The momentum and confidence that I gained during these coaching sessions and workshops, and even just the casual conversations I would have around campus with my fellow cohort members, pushed me to apply for the job that I now have in ed tech. I was very fortunate that another one of my best friends had recently made the career pivot into tech, and she, using her own network, had tagged me in a post on LinkedIn. I applied, and the next thing I know, within a week, I had a first round interview. I had interviews before Rung, and I never had made it past the first or second round, so you could understand that I was definitely nervous. However, this time I emailed my coaching team at Rung to let them know, and within an hour, I was on the phone with a career navigator who spent hours with me, throughout the time between that day and the interview, fine-tuning my answers to the most common interview questions, and she gave me feedback in real time as I was rehearsing my answers. I was so at ease the day of my interview because I knew what I was going to say, and then I knew that I believed what I was saying. I knew that I had what it took to back up what I was talking about. Being a Rung member, it really helped me secure a spot in a tech boot camp called Launch Code. I was introduced to an even wider network of people, and I was able to learn a new skill and have access to some really amazing mentors that really gave me the confidence to know that, hey, if you wanted to switch to this industry, you absolutely could. It's ready for you when you are. Having had an experience like Rung allowed me to not only see what I'm capable of, but to actually believe I can level up professionally. And I do have access to jobs paying almost double what I was making before. And I have a network of people ready to help me if I find myself wanting to make a change again. I can truly say this is the first time in my life I have options professionally. I'm qualified and equipped with skills that would allow me to be successful in a booming industry like technology is right now. I can't even begin to tell you how different my life is today. And when I look back to a year ago and to now, it's just like, is this real? I guess it is my life. I guess I am here on a webinar telling people how to make a career change. But again, I can absolutely attribute this professional win and personal growth to the strength of my network and a couple nonprofits that really helped me truly understand the meaning of career literacy by not only talking about it, but actually backing up their promises with actions. The work has real outcomes, and believe I'm a perfect example of that. And I'm so grateful for the work that these people have done to help people like me. So thank you all.
Well, Justine, we are grateful for having you here today to share your story. I mean, we can hear the self-worth and the confidence that you are exuding. And I absolutely love hearing you even speak into the space of who has been involved from your networks, like that personal network and that friend who said, hey, take a look at this, as well as those others and, who coached and were supportive for you all the way through. You really, and Launch Code opening up to diversify that network, I think was, also really key to you. And for you to say, I have choices, and you can see that you have choices. I mean, you're speaking right into the mission that we care about, all of us, I know, who are on this call today. So since there are organizations out there who are looking to help people, who would have been in your shoes, do you have advice for them or strategies that you think they definitely need to employ, Justine?
Absolutely. So the biggest piece of advice I could give anyone, trust the process. Trust the process that is before you, because it's now the DeBruce Foundation. There's research to back it up. There is a method to the madness. There's a reason behind each step in the process. It's deep work. It's not just editing your resume and learning how to talk in an interview, learning how to answer the common questions. It's a lot more than that in a lot of cases. So be open to do the reflective work. It can get uncomfortable. Be open to asking for help. Be open to asking your network for help, letting people know what you need. So just trust the process and be vulnerable and open.
Thank you, Justine and Davlon and Dan. I mean, the good news is you've heard it here today. The good news, you all, is that career literacy can be developed and network strength can be built. It is never too early to start. The compounding effect matters for our youth, and it's never too late. It matters that we help adults now too. So working smarter is what is the requirement. Please commit with us to advance the career literacy of others by helping them find that vision for their career and see a multitude of pathways that connect with their skills and their interests. Help people in your network build their networks so that they're more diverse and that they have those supportive connections that are needed. It is our mission to make a difference in this space. We want for you to partner with us. We hope that you'll start by reading the full report, scanning the QR code here, or I think it's also going to be in the chat for you to click that link and have that. Also, access the free resources. They've been alluded to here on, and I didn't pay them for that today. Thank you guys for mentioning the Agile Work Profiler and the agilities, but we do have lots of resources that can help you build your career literacy and your network strength at agilities.org. We really want to hear from you. It is our goal for this to go out into the universe and for this to be helpful to you. So please connect with us. Tell us what you're doing. Tell us how it's going at info@debruce.org. Together, we know that we can make a difference. And I think we may want to tackle some of those questions now, Alex, that could be coming in through the chat. So I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you so much, Leigh. So we're going to try and we have some time for some questions, and we are going to try and answer as many of them as we can get to. So feel free to keep those questions coming in, but we're just going to start off with Dan. So Dan, I know just kind of going off of what Leanne's just said about, really reaching out. Would you share what other states' workforce development departments for those people, what they might be interested in implementing something similar to what the state of Indiana is doing?
Yeah, there's a lot of different opportunities available. And the same thing, even though you're looking for careers, the big thing is networking. The state of Indiana, when we were redoing the Indiana Career Explorer, we were looking at different assessments that could really assist and help the people, the Hoosiers in the state. And the one thing that we started looking is we looked and evaluated probably 4 or 5 different key assessments. And then that's when we stumbled on the Agile Work Profiler. And we found, wow, that just hits the spot because it gives a new twist on labeling skills and their interest. It combines those together. So the big thing there is don't hesitate to reach out to network at whatever level, whether you're the employer or the employee. This type of thing. The thing that we're finding from some of our partners is there are several states that are looking at the state of Indiana, at what we've developed with the Indiana Career Explorer, and they're starting to duplicate that in some of the other states in the United States. So we're very proud of that. We've kind of heard the thing that Indiana is kind of a leader in that and kind of taken a lead on some of the things because there's very few that do any kind of assessments that we're developing now for kindergarten through 5th grade. Most of them are in junior high or high school and usually at that age. And now you need to start looking down at the earlier people. Technology controls our world, so they're used to these terms and they're used to those things. They're looking at careers at what they want to do.
All right, thank you so much, Dan. Our next question is from Joanne from the crowd. She asked, is this specific to the US? I'm a career and transition coach from Canada, actually, and would love what is being said here. I think that might be a Leanne question.
Sure. The research was done in the United States, but it is not specific to the US. The agilities.org is available for you to access from Canada or otherwise. Thanks, Joanne.
Our next question is for Justine. It looks like we have a KC person in the group that's really interested in Rung. They asked, Nicole asked, will Rung for women work with individuals here in KC?
That's a good question. So Rung, I'm actually at Rung's campus right now. So it's a physical location that you would have to go to. So I don't know that you would be able to come from, out of the city, but there's still resources available that we used. Launch Code, I think, is in Kansas City, and that's a huge, we work with them pretty closely. So that would be a great place to start if you're interested in a network, because I did build a network of women and a network of professionals through Launch Code as well.
Well, thank you so much, Justine.
Mm-hmm.
For Davlon, how do you see higher education's role in advancing the idea of career literacy and network strength? I think you talked about it really well, but
I think I understand what you mean. So you should be good. So I believe I mentioned it a little bit in passing earlier, is about closing the gaps when it comes to equitable practices as it relates to adding career development into their academic programs. So just say, for instance, you typically traditionally hear like the popular, if you will, majors of nursing or med school or law or engineering, things that are very specific to careers. So if you hear those majors, you can pretty much find a career that says the same thing in the title. However, a vast majority of majors that are put on or offered by a university does not teach specifically to a career. And what in my observation during the time I've been in career services is that not all programs provide career experiences to students or require those experiences or making sure students understand exactly what I can do with this particular major. Say, for instance, mathematics. Great. Awesome major, But in your particular academic programs, are they talking about careers that you could actually have with that particular major? And how are they helping support you in creating the network that you need, creating the experiences that you need in order to be the best candidate for employers? How do you network with someone in that particular space? How long can you work in this particular area? What salaries? Like, it's all kinds of things that are happening that a student may need. The career literacy, like we were saying before, needs to be a part of what that looks like. So I believe, and really one of my charges here at the University of Missouri, Kansas City, is to close those gaps as best as possible. Because to me, whenever you close those gaps, really equitable education, if you want to call it that, career education, will definitely close the gaps for a lot of things. As we were talking earlier, Leanne was saying about usually women and people of color typically fall in those particular gaps, or are the ones who are underserved. When you really think about how you're providing that career education, it really closes the gaps for everyone, no matter what.
Cool. Well, yeah, I can definitely attest to that. I was a political science major, so but I have a follow-up to actually that from the audience, Davlon. So your program, is that an optional program for students, or is that a requirement for certain students in certain majors? Or
So the Professional Career Escalator Program is specific for students. Students actually choose or apply to be a part of that program. It's a smaller cohort on campus. So incoming first-year students are able to apply. We are opening that up a little bit, but it's still a finite group of students in that capacity. So what we're doing, we work, and actually that office or that program is not in my office, and we actually work symbiotically. But if you think about how we're looking at career development on our campus, is that program is moving faster to where I want the rest of the campus to be. So they're specifically working with those students. They could have any major. They just have to, we're looking at 4 different career areas that would be interesting, but really any student has the ability to apply for that as incoming freshmen. But yes, the career development specific for those students, I'm looking at those elements for all of the other departments on campus and making sure that all students have that access to that career literacy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it definitely seems, especially since the evidence backs it up, seems like a great
100%.
So back to Justine. You gave some really great examples of just your network and that support that you received from them, either from Rung for Women or Launch Code. How did you find these organizations specifically, and just what advice would you give for other people looking to find those specific kind of networks? I think that kind of goes to what somebody was asking in the chat.
Yeah, so ironically enough, I found Rung through my boss. She was a volunteer here, and she was the one that she just started talking about it, and I was like, wait, what is that? They help you get a new job? But she knew I was job searching. I'd been in the role for 4 years, so she was like, you should check it out. And I went, and at first I almost didn't do it because it was like, oh, this is intimidating, but I'm really glad I did. Got out of my comfort zone, very far out of my comfort zone. And I'm grateful for the program. What was the second part of that question?
Any advice that you have for helping other people kind of find that network of support?
Oh, yeah. So just reaching out. Like I said, I got my job through my best friend tagging me in something on LinkedIn. I had that connection since I was like 16, so that's an embedded connection. Get out of your comfort zone. That's the only thing I can say. Like, I was in higher education for so long. I didn't know another way to think. I didn't know how to go about a job without going to get a master's degree or a PhD. So there's so many routes and paths to get a career that is within that meets the financial goals that you have for yourself without making a huge financial or time investment. I work now for another tech boot camp, and I see it all the time. You can complete a program in 6 months. For those that don't have the time or can take time to go to campus and drop their kids off or whatever. So get creative when you're thinking about job placement. What can you do already? What skills do you already have? And how can you use that to leverage your next position? Mm-hmm. Transferable skills are a thing. Learn how to market them.
Definitely. Thank you so much for that one.
Alex, one of the things to add on to what Justin said there is I see people that come into the office here. A lot of times they just don't know how to connect the dots, or they're afraid to ask that question. And a lot like what Justine just said there, don't be afraid to ask a question. There's no dumb questions out there. That's the only way to build that network or to learn career literacy is ask those questions. We see a lot of times people are logged into a career and they think that's what they're focused into. So don't be afraid to do that.
All right. Well, thank you so much for that, Dan. We are about out of time. So Leanne, if you just want to, really quick, just one last plug and let organizations, people that are interested on this call, know about how they can partner with the DeBruce Foundation more if they want to implement, the Agile Work Profiler or Agility's career literacy tools into their programs.
Thank you, Alex. Yes, and thank you to our panelists and all of you for being with us today. Again, read the full report. There you're going to see the employment empowered folks. They have 55% higher in salary, 26% more of them are employed, and they will look at 17% more jobs outside of their current job. That's what it takes to be employment empowered, and all of us can help build that through career literacy and network strength like you've heard today. So email us, connect with us at info@debruce.org and let us know what you're doing to make a difference with individuals. Read the full report by scanning this QR code. And as Alex said, feel free to access our free resources at agilities.org. Thanks again for being with us. Thank you so much, Alex.
Yeah, thank you all for just taking some time out of your day to spend some time with us. And again, happy Career Development Month.